Good evening. We are.
Jim, I think you'll like he did some filming in the Penn State shirt. Hey, Steve.
Yeah. Hey, Steve.
Yeah, 70 stash. It is not my favorite. Where did all the hair go? Yeah, Chris, where did all the hair go?
There's something different. My God, I've had a beard for 10 years.
I'm going to do a vote in the chat later and ask who likes it.
Oh, no. It's not like it takes very long to go back if I wanted it back.
California?
Behind the lines.
Steve, let's not encourage the mustache.
I think so.
No.
Well, I'm heading to New York tomorrow, so I don't think they have too much snow there right now. They just had a little bit of
You look beautiful with that haircut.
Michigan.
You need more handlebars. Oh, not a fan.
Yes, I got told by my wife that I can't be seen with her in public like I was.
Yes, I'm much better, thank you. I still have a nagging cough, and my voice kind of doesn't sound completely there yet, but I feel so much better. And you guys have some great stuff coming up. Saturday, I'm giving y'all the best, which we think is the best. It's a video on the Colt AR-15A2 Delta H bar, and it came together really nice. Status of the new book. We will have a status update on Black Rifle and where it stands in April. I'm going to be working on some stuff, not video related, because we have done so much filming and we have great stuff locked and loaded and ready for you guys over the next few weeks. And while those videos are going up, I will be working on some behind the scenes stuff.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
What did Brian say? I got the same haircut yesterday and I love it. I mean, I'm not going out with him like that. That isn't happening. Okay, guys, we're going to get started. This is our last Q&A and for about 3 weeks because Chris is going to be away. And so I wanted to squeeze one in here before he goes so that we could get some questions answered for you guys. If you'd like to donate tonight during the chat, you can do so by clicking the $sign of the Super Chat Google function, and your question will get bumped to the top.
Billy Zapp is far more badass than Rock Mafio.
Don't know who that is, but you can also our preferred.
Johnny.
Our preferred method is DonorBox. You can find that link on smallarmsolutions.com. Google takes 30% of your donations, and DonorBox only takes about 3% of your donation. And it works the same. You just put your question in the comment section, and it will get bumped to the top of all the questions coming in. Or if you would just like to donate to SAS, because we rely on those donations to keep our channel up and going. And we appreciate you for joining us. And we're going to get started. First up is Kirk. On DonorBox, thank you, Kirk. He says, thanks for the upper recommendation. I went with an Aero Precision, like you said, mid-length, 1-in-7 chrome lined barrel, SOCOM profile, F-mark front sight base. Got a great deal at Aero Precision. He has a line on a really great deal on an ADM UIC 10A 7.62 rifle. Any thoughts on the ADM and that particular piece? And he does have a photo.
You know, looks sweet. I have to take a closer look at all the individual parts, but I know ADM is certainly a good manufacturer.
So would you recommend it for him?
I certainly had no reason not to.
Well, there you go, Kirk. Steve, thank you for your donation on DonorBox. I did not see a question with it. If you have one tonight, let me know, and I will pull it. So we're going to go into the chat, and I'm going to start pulling questions. I'm just getting through all the chatter about your mustache. Does SDS make a good 1911?
You're asking the wrong guy, unfortunately. I'm more of a fan of the original World War II ones at that. However, I do have a 1911 now that I'm actually a little bit fond of for just as a plinker. It's the new one by Rock River, or by Rock Island Armory. I'm sorry, by Springfield Armory. Sorry. The Springfield Armory operator. I just did a video on it. I decided to keep that pistol, and I've had some fun with it. I've been enjoying it. It's very, very well made, and it's not a lot of money. So that's the one that I'm actually rather fond of. But for as far as there's probably other guys in here who are much more 1911 aficionados than I am.
What's with the Mario Kart guy? Oh, I love it. What's your opinion on the Aero Emporia E1 enhanced upper receiver with handguard mounting platform built in?
It's very nice. I've built a couple of them in the past. Pretty much anything Aero puts out is good quality. I've been very, very happy with them for years. There's one company that's been consistently putting out really good stuff and doing a lot of OEM work. So yeah, I absolutely think those are an excellent rifle.
Aimpoint Micro P2 or Trijicon MRO for a PCC?
Don't have either one of them. I'm sorry, I do have the Trijicon. Well, I don't really have any experience with the Acro, but I do have experience with the MRO, and I do really enjoy that. In fact, I had that same optic on of course, I can't show it to you, but on my FM Lwrcdi mic FM9 behind me.
Hey, Adnan.
And
how do you mitigate light primer strikes from striker-fired pistols? I have several with this issue, including Glocks and Con.
It's very rare that you encounter those on anything but some foreign ammunition. And most of the foreign made ammunition I've seen with that has been Middle Eastern, where they've had issues with that. If you're having severe issues, you may have an issue with your striker. But hard primers like that are just not really that common, even in NATO countries. I mean, every time I've had that issue, it's been with Middle Eastern ammunition. If you're having that issue, you may have a problem with your gun, not so much with the ammunition.
What buffer should I use for a 16-inch mid-length?
Actually, I didn't know what kind of barrel you have. If you have a heavy barrel, a government profile.
Deleted user, that's for you.
Well, I'll just say this. If you're using a standard government profile barrel, you're very, very fine with an H. If you have an extremely heavy barrel, maybe an H2, but H probably be your best overall bet.
How do you finish an install of an A2 stock? Since there's no castle nut to stake, do you use Loctite?
No. All you basically are doing is you're torquing down that the receiver extension screw by hand, of course by hand, but just, but really hand tight. No, you wouldn't use not Loctite. You may use some anti-seize, like grease like you use on a barrel nut, but no, you don't put Loctite on a receiver extension nut. Absolutely not.
Did the early production or pre-production M4s always come with the double heat shield handguards, or did they come with the slim handguards? I recently got an LE6920 and want to do an early clone build.
The M4, as per TDP, all came with double heat shields. That was part of the TDP. Everything prior to the M4 was COTS or commercial off the shelf. They could come either way. Really later guns could have double heat shields. Most of them would all have the single heat shield. There was no rule for the U.S. government until the adoption of the M4 where you had a TDP. Every M4 was delivered. This says, proper U.S. government M4 carbine with double heat shield handguards. Everything prior to that was whatever. It was whatever Colt had at the time.
Guys, don't forget to hit the like button. Do you think plastic or non-metal case ammo will be the future? Well,
they're working on plastic right now. It hasn't really been fully adopted by anybody yet. I think it could certainly have potential down the road, but we've been trying to do it since the 90s, so we're not there yet.
You don't have to keep asking your question. I'll get to it. I usually go through from the top down to the bottom. So if it's been a few questions, you're going to have to be a little bit patient.
Switzerland checking in. Awesome. I love seeing these international guys.
Did any Colts come with cold hammer forged barrels?
No, That's not anything the Colt's ever done. Some of the Colt prototypes, very, very rare prototypes you may see with Colt hammer forged barrels, but Colt has never manufactured that. We've got some Canadians, eh? Speaking of Colt hammer forged. Yeah, unless they came from Colt Canada or Tobacco. Colts never saw those.
William wants to know if you took me to dinner because he donated for you to take me to dinner last time. No,
I didn't know she
not
donated.
take me to
I know
dinner.
she donated money for that.
Yes,
She didn't tell me.
yes, that was his whole question. Where would you take Heather?
I didn't know that.
No, he didn't take me out.
She didn't tell me.
But he did surprise me with something that's pretty cool right here.
She has a new wine glass.
He's working on getting you guys a discount code and to save some money on these. And
Battle mug.
he's been wanting to do it forever. Show your battle.
That's
mug.
not it. That's one. Mine's over there. This is the polymer one, the less expensive one. My beautiful one's right next to you.
Yeah, and it's like really, really heavy. And so they do a wine glass, and so he got it with sass, and it has my name on it. This is his romance, and it comes as a top.
If you want a shaker,
you can shake it and make cocktails with it. So yeah.
Can you hear me mine?
You also.
This is what's really cool.
Get a workout when you're lifting it.
It's got logo, then on the bottom's name. Now this it doesn't come with this, but this is a standard M16A2 or detachable carrying handle for an M4. I got the Manson protectors in case it gets too cold or too hot.
And we have a code for that. That's BAR20 if you want to save money on Manta protectors.
But we're working on that right now.
Yeah, he's been wanting to do it for years.
Yeah, I love these things. These guys do so much awesome work with veterans and donating money back to veterans and things like that. And you got to admit, man, that is a man's mug. That is totally badass.
I mean, I don't know that I would call this a woman's mug, but it's got some weight to it though. You can do some arm curls with it.
He's got to make sure the kids don't put these in the dishwasher because they'll ruin them. Maine.
I'm trying to find my spot. Is the KAC AR price difference worth it over a Geissele AR?
No, I think they are extremely overpriced for what they are. I think you're paying too much for the name. There's many rifles that are just as good, if not better, if they offer more, that are at least $1,000 less. You know, I'm not saying they make bad products; they make really nice products, but they worth what you're paying for it? No way, no.
Does the Caracal 816 have a spring-assisted bolt like its cousin, the Hanel 223?
It's not its cousin. They're not related at all. The only relation is that Caracal bought Hanel. Those guns are not related at all. The Hanel is more of a HK 416. There's no relationship between those two guns.
Is the Sig Romeo 5 really a good optic?
I have a couple of them, and I've had nothing but good luck with them. So yeah, I do believe that they are. And I've shot the hell out of them. Because my optics go from gun to gun to gun. As guns come in here for me to do reviews on, I rotate out optics, and so it's got a lot of rounds on it, and they're working great.
Does anyone make any oversized taper pins for A2 front sight base? I'm having trouble getting regular ones to go in tightly. It's
not just that. You also need to re-drill. Most people who do any kind of that, in fact, who the hell was it? One of the company, Rainer offers a gunsmithing thing where they have that, where they will re-drill and use oversized pins to do it. You need to re-drill those two holes and use the proper oversized taper pins to get that right. That's why I recommend taking those out. They're not designed to come
out. What do you think of the 308 Amax versus the Winchester silver tip ballistic tip round?
Ballistic silver tips that's old technology. The Hornady, I think, is a much better round. You're looking at two different eras of manufacturing there. They were, silver tips were really great in their day, but there's better options now.
Tad on DonorBox, thank you, Tad. My question is related to the current events in Ukraine. Do you think the turmoil is going to cause the AK market and ammo to take a massive hit in America and make it impossible to get AKs and ammo in the future?
No, because there's already been a ban on Russian-made AK ammo. Quite frankly, the ammunition that's being made that we saw in this country was commercial. Russia hasn't used 7.62x39 for many, many years. And if they do, it's very, very minimal in reserves. So that blows it right out, right there. Second of all, we had a sanction against Russian ammunition and guns that were put in place a while ago. The only reason why you're still seeing Wolf ammo right now is because there were still several export permits that were approved. Now, once those ones that were approved are gone, there's no more coming in. So no, you're not going to see anything at all from Russia because right now Russia is irrelevant. Because you couldn't bring in any of that stuff even before the wars.
And we do have a video that's going to be coming out in the next week or two that it's already been filmed and ready, and it's a company that he had send him a few rounds of ammo to try out, and it's supposed to help fill the void of
It's
Russian
5.56,
ammo.
5.56 though.
Okay, Adnan on DonorBox. Thank you, Adnan. Does Arms Incorporated make a QD mount specifically made for the Trijicon ACOG TA648, which is a 6x48 powered optic, besides just for the traditional 4x32 fixed powered optic? When Richard Swan finalized design of the mill standard 1913 rail, did Eugene Stoner have any influence or at least some firsthand impressions insight of the rail system during its development, especially when the rail was first being fielded on main issue military rifles and then with the eventual upbringing of the M4 carbine?
Okay, we'll start off with this
Does
first.
Arms make a QD mount specifically made for the Trijicon ACOG TA648, which is a 6x48 powered optic?
No, that was extremely. It was not very well received, and it wasn't used very much. And quite frankly, right now, Arms stuff is very, very rare to get. After Dick Swan passed, his daughter took it over. The company has been fallen into. She hasn't been keeping up with it. Most of the stuff is out of stock. Not much time or energy is going into the running of this company.
When Richard Swan finalized design of the mill standard 1913 rail, did Eugene Stoner have any influence or at least some firsthand impressions or insight of the rail system during its development, especially when the rail was first being fielded on main issue military rifles, and then with the eventual upbringing of the M4 carbine?
Stoner was so far out of the loop by the time the M4 came out, he had absolutely nothing, period, to do with it. He was probably he was working for Reed Knight at the time, working on the SR-25. He had nothing to do, with any of that. So no.
Lwrcdi or Daniel Defense?
Lwrcdi. Both of them get cold hammer forged barrels, but you're not going to be, and they have, I think probably the Lwrc offers even more features for less money.
Any thoughts on the Velocity polymer ammo?
I'm not used it yet.
What is the best charging handle to use for shooting suppressed?
PRI Gas Buster, still to this day, almost made a better one.
Thoughts on Desert Tech Mdrx? I'm thinking about getting one.
I've been trying to get a hold of somebody there to get some of their guns in for review, but no one has returned any of my phone calls. I see the same things that you do, and a lot of it's generally very good. A lot of the people don't like the way it ejects, but again, I haven't had a chance to actually get one in my hands yet, so I can't really give you any information.
Gasbuster M84 or a Geissele Super Duty?
Gasbuster.
I have a Bushmaster ACR made before Remington bought Bushmaster. I'm having trouble getting the charging handle loose and move it to the other side. Do you have any advice?
Last I knew, the operator's manual had the directions to do that. I don't believe that. Unfortunately, I don't believe that the new Bushmaster, they're not set up to. I don't know if they're even going to be doing warranty on it. There is a gentleman, Templar Precision. I would give him a call. He's probably probably one of the foremost ACR guys out there. If anybody's going to be able to help you, it's going to be Templar Precision.
A real dissipator versus a faux dissipator, which do you prefer?
Neither one of them, because the reality is they are completely outdated today. The only time a dissipator was ever any good was when you had fixed carrying handles, whether it was A2 or original one, because the whole premises behind dissipator was so you could have the shortest barrel with the longest sight radius. And unfortunately, the initial guns, the ones that were made during the Vietnam era, where they just hacked off the barrels and thought they could use, the M16s, M16A1s that way, they realized that once they did that, there wasn't enough dwell time, and the guns would short stroke. because you have to have time or proper gas port between the gas port and the muzzle, and that is very difficult to do unless you open it up drastically. That's why most of the ones you saw during the Vietnam War that had quote barrels cut down had suppressors on them, because the suppressors gave them the back pressure so the guns would work properly. So the only way to make dissipators work was to basically use two gas blocks. One, you would have a carbine length gas system, so you had a properly working gas system. Then you would have your second, your front sight tower with your handguards attached to it to give you the, the full, the full sight radius. So nowadays there is no benefit because you're using optics. So it's a dead technology now.
Any thoughts on PSA's H&R M16A1 clones coming late 2022?
Haven't seen them yet. All I only saw was the one, obviously, that H&R introduced at the SHOT Show, which really looks awesome. Aim low.
Any thoughts on the Canadian AR-180s? They are one of the few black rifles we can own, and would like any tips on how I can improve.
Well, I've never got one in my hands, but I've heard a lot of Canadians complain about their reliability and so forth. You're far better off if you can get your hands on one of those Colt Canada rifles. But I've only read, and I'll never see them here in the United States. I've never had the opportunity to go to Canada and look at them.
Aaron on DonorBox, thank you so much, Aaron. I'm going to be getting my first AR-10, and he would like to know what do you recommend? I'm looking at the POF Revolution Piston or a Grey Ghost Precision MK2 Heavy. What are your thoughts?
Well, the POF, the Revolution, I'm still not really sold on that one because of how thin the bolt and everything is on that. Depending on how much money that you want to spend, the Grey Ghost I don't have experience with. There's a lot of really nice AR-10s that are out there, depending on how much money you want to spend. You're going to be seeing some videos coming out on over the next couple of weeks on both the new SIG 716i Snakebite 308. You're going to see one coming out on the Spring for Armory St. Victor.
Do you want me to bring it up for you?
Sure. You're also going to be seeing one coming out on a rifle I'm actually quite fond of. It's my DB10. 308, and you also see we have tons of videos on there on everybody and their brother's different AR-10s that we've taken a look at. So you do have a lot of options out there. The POF is really neat because of how light it is, but it's nothing that wasn't done by DPMS for the most part with their Gen 2 308, and the cost is really, really outrageous. So I'd do some more shopping if I was you.
And we have a video on a French clock. We have a video on a Taurus coming out. We have a video on
our first Taurus
AR-12 shotgun. And for you guys that have missed it, Saturday we're going to have a video on the Colt AR-15A2 Delta H-Bar, which should be a nice one. What buffer was used for the Canadian C7, a 20-inch barrel with collapsible stock?
They had their own, and I only understood that it was basically like an H6 type buffer, but I'm not sure. I'd love to get my hands on I want to take a look at it or find out from a Canadian soldier what their rifles use. When I was up there, they were just transitioning over to the new C7A2s, and I never really got a chance to take a look at one up close.
Do you see the 6.8 by 51 or .277 Curie completely replacing the 5.56 in Big Army?
No, not for at least not for any foreseeable future. That's again, it's my opinion. I don't know anything that you don't know, but looking at the way the military has done things and the practical applications.
What are your thoughts on the Mdrx 308, and what 308 battle rifle would you recommend for reliability aside from the FN-FAL and SCAR H?
LMT, that would probably be the one that I would go to. The SIG 716i, which has gone through military testing for the Indian military, is another nice one. Of course, you have in there the SIG 716. I'm sorry, the HK 417, which is seen it. You see the HK. I'm sorry, the SCAR 17. That's not an AR though. Those are ones who actually seen combat, who they're proven. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of choices. If you can get your hands on one and you're willing to take the risk, the Colt LE 901 16S, which is a beautiful rifle, and just unfortunately you can't get replacement parts for it.
What's your opinion on the resurgence in retro rifles and more so the adoption of the carry handle for a substitution for high-rise mounts? It seems like the carry handle kills two birds with one stone.
But it does. But unfortunately, when you put the carry handle on there and you put scope on top of that, your neck is sticking up in a very uncomfortable and unnatural position.
I saw that you're trying out, is it what, Kinshot's hydraulic buffer. I don't know when you guys filmed that video, but have you had enough time using it, and can you make a separate video talking about it?
I will. It will take time because it's going to go in some different guns. The one specifically that you're going to be seeing is going to be in the video coming up on my DB10, which I put one in there because it has that short buffer in there, which did make a difference. I got some rounds through them on the 9mm. We're going to be doing more with the PCC, and we're going to be switching them out some more.
Very interesting. Missile cup.
Some more around.
I mean, like literally. Yeah, when we have more information about the cups and where you can get them in like a discount code, I know a lot of you are asking about them.
Yeah, we're working on it because I absolutely love these things.
It literally just came in today, so I just wanted to show it to you because we thought it was kind of cool and funny, and he's talked to the company for a while now, and so hopefully we'll have some information on it for you soon. And if you guys are just tuning in, this will be the last Q&A for the next like a good 3 weeks while Chris is away. I'll be doing some other things, but if you guys have any problems with your guns during that time, or a question that's time sensitive, or I mean, sometimes you guys send links to different listings for guns or that you want his opinion on, you can send that over to me. We just ask that you make a donation to the channel. The same with DonorBox. You can email your questions separately and do a donation, and he'll be available for that 7 days a week, and I'll be available. I'll be doing other stuff for Small Arms Solutions separately, but we'll still be here working. We'll just be working in different different states. What are your thoughts on the M17 plus P 9mm ammo from SIG?
I actually have quite a bit of it over there, and I'm using it very sparingly because I can't get it. I'm able to get it for over a year. It is basically the M882 ball round. The M882 ball or 9mm NATO round that we have. That is by Sammy Spec. It's a plus P. It's a Lwrcdi foot a second, and that is exactly what the M17 plus P is. It's a 124 grain bullet, 1185 foot a second. Unfortunately, since COVID and the shortage, they have not brought back that ball ammo. I've been looking for it. I constantly talk to the guys over at SIG. They've only been making the standard, black and yellow box. They haven't been had the M17 for a while.
Thoughts on the CMMG Mark 47 pistol?
Well, we have an entire video on that, and we also have a video where I do a comparison between 4 of the most popular or better made ARs that take AK magazines. I would definitely revert you to them because you will get a full explanation.
Jeff Allen says, I love my shirts and stickers and G96 and Otis cleaning kit, and my manual with General Levi's paw print is my dearest item.
I still have that picture in my phone.
Yeah, we took a picture of it. It was pretty funny. I think Levi was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
It's the Salt Terrier.
Thoughts on Colt 6943 in 2022? Did we do that one already?
Well, 6943, no. 6943, at least Colt has to have made per their prints. There's no outsourcing of that. Anybody who does it has to do it off of their prints. So that's definitely going to be, a Colt spec. The barrels, again, they're going to be the same things that you're getting now, which are the outsourced barrels. And there's nothing wrong with those outsourced barrels. Like I said, my whole thing with it is we pay for the Colt name and everything because of the Colt quality, which is making the parts in-house. They don't do that anymore, and they're never going to again. So, what you're seeing now is what you're going to be getting. The days of the Colt mil spec M4 are gone. They're not making for the government anymore.
I recently bought a Colt LE6920 upper with what looks like a capital I stamped down near the throat of the barrel. Any idea what company that marking represents?
I would have to look that up. I can't remember that offhand. I have that written down somewhere. I did have several of the ones written down, but I'm not sure if I got all of them.
If you would like to make a donation to the channel and have a response emailed from him, I can have him look that up for you.
But unfortunately, I can't guarantee it.
But we can't do it right here at this moment.
I don't have access to information right now.
How do you feel about the 50 GI 50 cal pistol round?
That's been out for quite some time. I've read about it. I never really messed with it. It just didn't really seem like it was a. It seemed to me like it was more of a gimmick. Than anything that was practical. It's just somebody bigger has to be better. Ammunition. I don't know if that was all Wildcat or if there's actually somebody producing it. But no, I never really messed with it. Like I said, there's a lot of things out there I think that people just do because they can.
Yeah, and Jeffrey was saying how he likes his G96 and Otis cleaning kits. We have recently become affiliated with Otis, and so now we're able to link some of their kits that go along with the videos that we're doing. So you can find those links in our description boxes, but also if you use code SAS15, it takes 15% off your entire G96 order. So there's always that there.
15 is Otis, right?
Yes, 15. SAS 15.
G96 is 10.
Yes.
Right. She does all this. I never know.
G96 is 10 and Otis is 15. And Challenge Targets is 10 and Mantis 20.
That's why she does what she does.
And Centurion is 3, 5, and 10. So there's 3 separate codes.
That's why she does what she does.
George on Donor Thank you, George. I recently bore scoped my barrel, Daniel Defense M4A1, before and after cleaning and noticed tiny crack with copper fouling in the grooves. I regularly maintain my rifle and wondering if this is a normal wear and tear.
Crack?
Yeah, he says a tiny crack with copper fouling in the grooves.
Well, you will have eventually chrome will chip away. That's I guess you have to see how damaging it was. But you will eventually, chrome will start chipping away, and you will see, fouling get caught in there on occasion. But generally, that's after an extremely long amount of, a large round count.
Jake says his wife likes the smell of G96 gun treatment. It smells good. I mean, it really does smell good. He's been trying to get Andy to do a candle for years.
Yeah. He's just afraid that he's going to be stuck with a whole bunch of them because they got a quantity. He has
and we're like, no, we can clear them out for you. Can an individual utilize the Voltmore A5 buffer system into a .308 caliber AR-10 rifle?
They have never introduced, that I am aware of, a proper buffer. That you certainly could if you had the proper spring and the proper buffer. But the problem is you'd have to have a whole new engineering development for a spring and a buffer to work with the 308. And I don't believe they've ever done that. At least not that I've seen.
Any advice on a roll pin walking out of a gas plug? Block mount, not taper pins on block, but roll pin connecting tube.
Say that again.
Any advice on roll pin walking out of a gas tube block mount, not taper pins on block, but a roll pin connecting tube?
I don't think I've ever seen a gas tube pin walk out. My guess is that you need to replace that with a brand new one. If you keep popping that pin out and putting it back in, eventually you're going to wear the pin down to the point where it's not going to be secure. I would definitely try knocking it out and putting a brand new one in. It should not be walking out on you.
Thoughts on the SIG of 553 series?
They're really neat. I've only had access to one of those over the years, thanks to Michiko. They are more of an aficionados type thing than they are practical any longer. You're looking at between 3,000 to 6,000 plus for those. Most of them are very old technology. You don't have the 1913 rails. You don't have the ability to mount optics. It's more of the original, SIG 550 type design. But the ones that are coming in now, they're not necessarily made by the exact same people. They're coming in as pistols, and then you have to make changes and so forth. They're very, very expensive. They're very, very well made. The only one I've shot was the sniper type rifle, and I have to say I was underwhelmed by its performance. William was really shocked at the results that we got. In fact, at that time, I was still working with Henry Chan. He shot it too, and neither one of us were able to get decent groups out of it compared to like an AR. But it's something that you would have to appreciate the quality and understand what it is for you to be able to invest that kind of money in one.
Have you had any experience with the Walther PDP mounting system?
Mhm.
Do hammer fire metal frame guns still relevant in an age of polymer?
Yeah, there are still people who prefer it. There's still people who prefer the double strike capability. That's one of these things is you have to look at who's making the specifications and and what they like. I mean, I can remember going back, to just police departments, working with the Washington Police Department and Monroe County Sheriff's years ago, looking to replace pistols, and you had one guy who was all anxious to get with a polymer frame striker, and then the other guy was like, nope, I want to go with the double action aluminum frame. I'm not sold on the polymer. And you want the double strike capability. You want the manual safety. A lot of the time, it just depends on who's making the requirements. Do I think they're irrelevant? Absolutely not.
When torquing the castle nut to spec, is there a risk of twisting the receiver if you're using a Magwell block and a Vise versus a Geissele reaction block?
Well, the reaction block is certainly best. You have to just make sure that you don't over torque. If you over torque, what you're going to do is you're going to take that index pin on the extension plate, and you're going to dig it into the receiver, causing damage, and it's going to cause your stock to become angled instead of perfectly straight. So you have to make sure that you're doing it properly and not over torquing.
What are your thoughts on Sons of Liberty Gunworks, LPK? They boast their parts are more mil spec than what most other companies claim to be.
Well, being here in Texas and they're in San Antonio, I've tried getting with them for quite some time to get some of their guns and parts to take a look at, and I've just never been able to. So I guess I really can't offer you an opinion on that. But that is one of the ones. There's actually, I want to take a trip out to San Antonio. There's three companies I want to visit out there. One is Sons of Liberty. Two is Evolve. Evolve is another company, and third is Hodge Defense. All three of those are in San Antonio. I've been talking to all three of those. So at some point, I may take a trip out there for a day or two and visit with all three of those guys.
Well, guys, I think we're going to shut it down for the night. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you in a few weeks. Chris?
Thank you guys very much for watching, and hope you enjoy some of these videos that are
Yeah,
coming
we have
up. And
lots of good stuff.
we'll see you in a few weeks.